This man built the first Apple computer and sold it for exactly $666.66 because he liked repeating numbers. Then he gave away $10 million of his own shares to employees who got nothing. And here's the wildest part. He's still on Apple's payroll today, earning $50 a week, decades after he walked away. This is the story of Steve Wozniak, the forgotten genius behind Apple. You're about to discover how a kid who got kicked out of college for hacking became the engineer who built the first real personal computer. You'll see why he crashed a plane and lost his memory, only to relearn everything by playing the games he'd created. And you'll learn why the Blue Box, an illegal device for making free phone calls, was actually the reason Apple exists today. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Wozniak's best friend lied to him about thousands of dollars, why he used a fake name to go back to college, and why he's the only person in tech history who walked away from billions because he just wanted to be an engineer. But first, quick reality check. I started this channel a few months ago and just reached 100 subscribers, thanks to your support. Make sure you like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Now, let's dive into the story of the man who actually built Apple. The year is 1950, San Jose, California. A child is born who will quietly change everything. Stephen Gary Wozniak. Everyone calls him Woz. His father, Jerry, was an engineer at Lockheed Martin who showed him that electronics was a puzzle, not boring equations. His mother, Margaret, nurtured his curiosity. From a young age, Wozniak would take apart every device to understand what lived inside those boxes. At just 11 years old, he got his amateur radio license, something most adults couldn't do. Wozniak loved science fiction. Star Trek showed him how technology should serve humanity. He never wanted to be a businessman. He was an inventor who believed technology should be accessible to everyone. The secret behind his genius? He saw engineering as art, wanting designs with the fewest parts possible. In 1968, Wozniak enrolled at the University of Colorado to study computer science. This was radical. Computer science barely existed as a field. One professor noticed this kid didn't fit the normal curriculum and arranged a special course just for him. But in 1969, his curiosity cost him. He was caught hacking the university's mainframe computer. He wasn't trying to damage anything, just wanted to see how it worked. He had to go back to California, ashamed. But this moment changed technological history. If Wozniak had stayed in Colorado, Apple would never have been born. Back in California, Wozniak transferred to UC Berkeley in 1971. His friend, Bill Fernandez, introduced him to another teenager, 5 years younger, Steve Jobs. Jobs was drawn to hippie culture, art, and mysticism. They seemed like opposites, but they shared a passion for electronics and that sense of humor that challenges authority. In June 1971, Wozniak and Fernandez built their first computer, the cream soda computer, primitive, with just 256 bytes of memory, not megabytes, 256 bytes. But the project ended when a reporter accidentally stepped on the power cord. Sparks, smoke, the machine died before it could greet the world. Then came the Blue Box. Wozniak read about a vulnerability in AT&T's telephone system that could be fooled using a 2,600 hertz tone, allowing free calls anywhere. This sound was first discovered with a toy whistle from a Captain Crunch cereal box. Wozniak designed an electronic device that reproduced those tones perfectly. He allegedly used it to call the Vatican, pretending to be Henry Kissinger, the then U.S. Secretary of State, saying he wanted to speak with the Pope. But Jobs saw commercial potential. "We can sell this," he said. Jobs later told his biographer, "Without the Blue Box, there would be no Apple." They sold these illegal devices on campuses. Once, police caught them, but the officers didn't understand what the devices did. This taught them that two kids with the right technology could take down a multi-billion-dollar system. Between 1971 and 1975, Wozniak worked at Hewlett-Packard. Jobs went to Atari in 1973. Then came the Breakout incident. Atari offered a $100 bonus for every chip removed from the game's design. Jobs called Wozniak, Wozniak stayed up for several nights and eliminated more than 50 chips. Jobs received $5,000 from Atari, equivalent to about $283,000 today. But Jobs told Wozniak they only got $700 and split it equally. Wozniak got $350. 10 years later, Wozniak learned the truth. Jobs had kept almost all the money. What shocked Wozniak wasn't the money. "If I'd known Jobs needed it, I would have given it to him," he said. What shocked him was that his closest friend had lied. In 1975, Wozniak discovered the Homebrew Computer Club in Palo Alto. This chaotic meeting place for tech enthusiasts changed everything. The club's leader announced at every meeting that the club didn't officially exist. This was a rejection of hierarchy, a celebration of individual freedom. After his first meeting, Wozniak was hooked. He decided to design a computer to impress his friends. In 1976, MOS Technology released the 6502 processor for $20. Wozniak worked at HP during the day. At night, he developed what would become the AppleI. The AppleI was his first masterpiece. He used incredibly few parts, doing jobs that normally required 50 chips with only 5. Because he was an HP employee, every invention belonged to HP. He presented the personal computer idea to executives 5 times. Each time, they rejected him. Who needs a computer at home? HP's rejection was a blessing. Instead of keeping the design to himself, Wozniak shared it with club members for free. But Jobs said, "Let's sell them." On April 1st, 1976, Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, and Ronald Wayne founded Apple Computer Company. To raise capital, Wozniak sold his calculator for $500. Jobs sold his Volkswagen van. With the $1,300 in capital raised, they produced their first printed circuit boards. Jobs contacted Paul Terrell, owner of the Byte Shop. Terrell wanted 50 fully assembled computers. This changed everything. They were selling finished products now. AppleI computers were assembled in Jobs' garage. They sold for $666.66. Wozniak liked repeating numbers. He was unaware of the Devil's Sign Association. 200 were produced. 175 sold. Today, only 82 exist. By late 1976, Mike Markkula invested $92,000 and provided a $250,000 credit line. His one request? Wozniak had to quit HP. Under pressure, he resigned in November 1976. On January 3, 1977, Apple became a corporation. Wozniak devoted everything to the Apple II. Reduced chips, increased RAM, color graphics. He found a way to get color images almost without additional cost, a method no one had thought of before. But a battle erupted. Wozniak wanted 8 expansion slots so users could modify the system. Jobs wanted 2 slots and a closed system. The argument grew intense. "Then go find yourself another computer," Wozniak said. Jobs backed down. History proved Wozniak right. The Apple II became the market leader. On April 16, 1977, the Apple II debuted, the first personal computer with a keyboard, basic language, and color graphics. Orders poured in. By 1978, Wozniak designed the Disk 2 floppy drive with just 5 chips, while competitors used 50. Then in 1979, VisiCalc, the first electronic spreadsheet program, was written for Apple II. People bought Apple II just to use it. The computer was no longer a toy. It was a business tool. In 1980, Apple went public. Jobs and Wozniak became multimillionaires overnight. But with wealth came problems. That same year, the Apple III failed. Jobs removed cooling fans for aesthetics. Computers overheated. Apple's solution? Lift the computer and drop it forcefully to reseat chips. The Apple III was an embarrassment. Then came 1981. On February 7th, Wozniak's small aircraft crashed during takeoff. His fiancée, Candace Clark, his brother, and his brother's girlfriend were on board. Wozniak suffered severe head injuries and memory loss. He couldn't form new memories. He'd forgotten the accident. Playing the Apple II games he'd designed helped him regain memory. He took leave from Apple. During recovery, he returned to Berkeley in late 1981, using a pseudonym, Rocky Raccoon Clark, to avoid recognition. Wozniak also organized massive U.S. festival events in 1982 and 1983. losing millions. But he didn't care. He was having fun. In 1983, he returned to Apple. But everything had changed. Jobs was running Macintosh and looked down on Wozniak's team. Yet Apple II still accounted for 85% of profits. By 1985, Wozniak had had enough. He felt Apple was going in the wrong direction. He wanted to be a free-thinking engineer, not a corporate pawn. In early 1985, he left his active role. But unlike Jobs, Wozniak wasn't fired. He's remained on Apple's official employee list to this day, receiving about $50 weekly. His emotional connection never broke. Wozniak's financial ethics were extraordinary. When Apple went public, Jobs refused to give shares to most employees. Wozniak considered this unfair. He gave away approximately $10 million of his shares to nearly 80 Apple employees. The Woz plan. He was after justice, not wealth. After Apple, Wozniak pursued his dream of teaching. He taught computer classes to elementary students. He supported electronic rights organizations. Although he suffered a mild stroke in Mexico in 2023, he hasn't lost energy. He founded Privateer Space to clean up space debris, and he still argues that technology should be open, transparent, and repairable. Steve Wozniak was the heart and conscience of Apple. Jobs was the charismatic face, but Wozniak breathed life into those products, made those circuits work like art. The man who gave away $10 million, the man who walked away from billions to become a teacher, the man still on Apple's payroll at $50 a week. That's Steve Wozniak, the forgotten genius who actually built Apple. If you found this story valuable, please hit that like button and leave a comment. What surprised you most? And don't forget to subscribe to help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching.